Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the Privacy and the AI Overlords edition. They are coming to get us, guys, and we got all sorts of fun AI stuff, from AI scams to AI multiple jobs to AI kidnappings. What's going on? Yes, we will get all to that. We will also get to the police state has arrived, and we will get to all of that here shortly. Of course, you can catch the show live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you'd like to catch it live, or you can catch these guys here, and we stream on multiple different platforms. Have a look at the website, switchedtolinux.com/live. We'll always give you the updates on the current live shows, and those are usually updated by the morning or afternoon of the day that we go live. With that, let's go ahead and get diving right on into the privacy news. And the first up is Carnegie Mellon got themselves caught up inside of a privacy dispute. So researchers were working on these smart sensors before Kufis, and then a bunch of people went to work from home, and then they just got the idea, let's just test these smart sensors all over the place. And they put something like 200 or something of these sensors all over, like literally everywhere except the bathrooms, all over Carnegie Mellon. And people are coming back like, what are all these sensors doing all over the place? Oh, don't worry. It's just part of our program. They're very private. Fear not. Great. That's all we need. So basically, these sensors work on 12 different types of environmental data. They work on motion, temperature, audio, although it's scrambled, so it can't, detect who's there allegedly. I'm sure it could. They have a more privacy protecting and secure way since that. And then it's motion, temperatures, sound, of a variety of different things. And these all just tie into these networks. The problem is whenever we came back and saw these, they're like, who consented to all this kind of stuff? And do we have to consent to give all this data down here? Of course, the PhD in charge is kind of like, well, if we have to do opt-in, my career's kind of over. It's like, good, have your career be over, because we certainly do not need people coming in and being monitored around. Now, while they may not be able to get exactly who the person is in theory, I bet that if with enough AI and with enough data points, you probably could figure out who's who moving throughout the halls at some point in time. And so it sparked this giant debate about privacy and types of data, and what really is the type of data that can be used to de-anonymize people, and do we need consent on even the minors to little things? And I think yes, if you're going to take any form of data at all as it relates to a human being and put it into a database, yeah, you need full written opt-in consent. And here's my thought: if you are caught with such data without a written piece of paper with my signature on it, yeah, I actually think severe discipline should be in order for you, because it's the only way it's going to happen. Now, is that going to happen? No. So we're pretty much doomed with this kind of stuff. This is why we have to take advantage of the best privacy options we can do. We have to use Linux. We have to be cautious about where we go and what information we give and stuff like that. All right, second up, this is a new crime going on that relates closely to privacy. Bank accounts of New York roofie murder victims drained via facial recognition technology. So what's going on here? Well, of course, in New York, the city that crime is running amok, murderers are running through the streets, and they have all this time to charge a former president with a nonsense charge. It makes total sense that the whole New York is completely falling apart. So this crime usually doesn't involve murder. This crime usually just involves drugging somebody. So you find your mark, you drug them, they get all passed out, you take their phone, you unlock their phone with their face, and then you go through their apps and you harvest the data and you drain their bank accounts. That's all you do. So this has been a trendy thing showing up. So look for this if you're going into some of these luxury high-end bars. Be careful of people spiking your drinks. I mean, they used to spike your drinks to engage in the oldest business in the world. Now they spike your drinks to unlock your phone and play shenanigans. Wouldn't that be a fun thing? You spike their drink, you use their phone, you produce a whole bunch of bad content with their phone, and then you drain their phone, well, you screen cap it all, and then you leave them a note saying, ha, 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 thanks for the wonderful night. Well, it tattooed across their forehead, of course. But that's effectively what's going on. Why? Because people are using fingerprints and facial recognition to lock their phones, and it's very easy to knock somebody out, take the device, and do that. That is why even if your phone does not send any information out to the company behind it, even my Lineage phones, which do have fingerprint scanners, I am not unlocking my phones with fingerprints or facial scanners. Not a chance. Because somebody comes by, knocks me out with some drugs, and they just take the finger and it goes like, dude, the phone's not opening. Yeah. And then, of course, if they were to actually guess on the passcode and get into the phone, they will be my train of thought is derailed. Sorely hurt by the fact that my phone has no bank accounts, no other information that you could use. Like, dude, all this guy does is makes phone calls and text messages. What the hell is this about? So, that's the thing. But this is a new crime going on, so you got to be careful of that. And now we move on into the police state, a couple of different articles. So this first one is from Malwarebytes. How the cops buy a God view of your location data with Bennett ciphers. Locking code S04E09. Sounds like some robot from Star Wars. So this is the various organizations that are collecting all sorts of data from phone apps. So this is the type of data that you'll have. It's going to include stuff like, just any form of apps that you use. If you're using your Google Maps to figure out the best traffic way home, Google is harvesting your data. They're lending that data or selling that data, one of the two. All sorts of, nearly every app that you have is collecting this type of stuff, whether or not they admit it, they are. This is why I don't use apps except for completely free and open source audited ones like off of F-Droid. So these are the types of things we have to be more cautious of, is the fact that all of these apps can grab all of our data, and then all of these data points are going into all of these ad agencies, and they're just looking to make a buck. So who's the greatest place? Sell it to the police. Now, these guys here are actually an organization looking at selling explicitly to them. So this guy here, so according to a recent investigation from EFF and the Associated Press, the company called Fog Data Science has been gathering America's location data service and selling it exclusively to law enforcement agencies in the United States. Fog Data Science Tool, a subscription-based platform that charges clients for queries of the company's database, is called Fog Reveal. According to Bennett Ciphers, one of the investigators who uncovered Fog Reveal through a series of public records requests, it's rather powerful. What it sells is, I would say, a God view mode for the world. It's a map, and you draw a shape on the map, and it will show you every device that was in that area at a specified time frame. Who is in there? Well, anybody carrying around the device who has given location permissions to apps, or have even have apps installed on their phone that can probe those things. I'm pretty sure I'm invisible to these nets. The way my phone is set up, I'm not 100% sure. Now, a lot of this is, are they collecting all their data just from apps, or are they somehow getting triangulation data from the cell phone companies? If they are doing that, it is tied in very closely to everybody who has a phone, period, even a dumb phone. If it's using apps, which most likely it is using apps and not the cell phone data, then a good Lineage phone without location services turned on, utilizing only FOSS applications, you're going to be protected from this. So this is certainly what law enforcement is able to do. They just go in there, pull up a map, say who all is in this area within these timeframes. And now they have a blanket geofence warrant. Now, fortunately, the geofence warrants are becoming problematic in some jurisdictions, but not all jurisdictions. And so we have to be aware of that. And another instance of the police state having arrived, police are using invasive facial recognition software to put every American in a perpetual lineup. So the dark side of AI technology by law enforcement agencies in the U.S. Now, Fox News is a couple years late to this because who's this? Dun, dun, dun! Clearview AI! we've been talking about Clearview AI on this channel for a long time. Unfortunately, I'm probably caught up into there. They know what it looked like without the beard. They know what it looked like with the beard. I'll just have to go ahead, do some facial reconstruction surgery, make myself look like Michael Jackson, and then turn off the cameras and never put my cameras on again. And then I have successfully long played them, and they don't know who I am anymore. I look like a freak, but they don't know who I am anymore. But this is now Fox News saying, oh, there's this big company called Clearview AI, and they have all this data, and they're selling it to the police. Thank you for finally telling us. I've been telling you on this channel for a long time about Clearview AI. But anyway, let's dig in a little bit more. With all the excitement around AI, thanks to ChatGPT, and many cheering this technology and loving its optimizing powers, unfortunately, this onion has many layers, and the deeper we go, the stinkier it gets. Amen to that. We can list dozens of reasons to fear AI, such as the becoming more intelligent than humans and potentially leading unexpected and uncontrollable outcomes. I don't think that it is becoming more intelligent than humans. I think it's becoming the more buffoonery level of humans causing the sheer stupidity proliferating in America. That's my personal take. But anyway, as we move on, however, there's already one issue. Privacy violations are growing and damaging. So unveiling the identity of most notorious facial recognition company you've ever heard of, the AI company Clearview AI has made headlines for its misuse of consumer data. It provides facial recognition software to law enforcement agencies, privacy companies, and other organizations. Software uses artificial intelligence algorithms to analyze images of faces and match them against a database of over 3 billion photos that have been scraped from various sources, including social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, without the user's permission. See, this is the thing. This whole company, everything in their database needs to be completely nuked, take every person involved, and throw them in jail and strip them of all of their assets. You do that one time, and you're going to put an end to a bunch of this nonsense, because I didn't consent to use this, and the collection of that data from YouTube, for example, is a violation of the policies of those companies. And so there's no business Clearview AI has in having most of its data. Why don't you charge every single one of it with 1 year imprisonment? And there you go. 3 billion photos. There you go. 3 billion years in prison. There you go. Make it a day. 3 billion days in prison. Think of all the stuff we can do with a couple of these unscrupulous psychotic morons stripped of all of their assets and rotting in a prison cell for the rest of their life. Why? Because they're completely violating the basic human rights of privacy. Now, of course, that's never going to happen, but hey, we can pretend, can't we? We can write good science fiction novels about it. We can talk about how we finally get a utopian future when we lock up all these crazy people. And I'm not talking about like the zombies in the streets of Philadelphia. I'm talking about all these big rich investors who sit there and tell us, you need to save the planet, while they fly their jets all over the place with nobody. Like, think of the absurdity of this. Like, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama took separate Boeing 747s halfway across the world to go to a climate change summit because Michelle Obama wanted to go to New York shopping first. I'm sorry. Don't complain to me about what I'm doing on the planet. Hey, all I burnt today, as far as fossil fuels, was enough to use one small propane oven for 10 minutes. Okay? I cooked on solar electricity this morning. Oh boy. But there you have it. So the police they know exactly where they are. They know exactly who we are. And they have basically unlimited powers. So in that knowledge, despair, and by Linode. We are highlighting Linode, or Akamai, I guess it is now called. But still, they are going to give $100 in free credit, good for 60 days. So you can test out as many little droplets, or I guess they're Linodes, that you want. I've been using some DigitalOcean stuff lately, too. Expect some of that more in the future as well. But anyway, you can use my affiliate link there, tlm.li/Linode. Of course, I use my restreaming servers. I host, about 50 or 100 or so client websites on my Linode servers. We do our Jitsi server. I got Nextcloud, all sorts of cool infrastructure I have for running this channel. All that stuff is over there on Linode. So tlm.li/Linode, $100 in credit, good for 60 days. So you can test out all sorts of fun stuff over there. And with that, guys, let's head on over to see what our AI overlords have in store for us today. Isn't that great? First, we have an update to the Italy. Of course, Italy did a temporary ban on ChatGPT so that they could collect more information, like where did you collect your information? That's what they would like to know. That's what they would like to know. All right, so with that, Italy Data Protection Watchdog has laid out what OpenAI needs to do to lift the order against ChatGPT. Issued at the end of last month, when its suspected AI chatbot service was a breach of the EU's general data, basically GDPR, ordered US-based company to stop processing locals' data. So basically what they want to find out, the short version of the new compliance demand is OpenAI will have to get transparent and publish an information notice detailing its data processing. It must immediately adopt age gating. That's terrifying. Age gating to prevent minors from using it. Guys, anytime we talk about age gating on the internet, we are talking about a crazy dystopian future. That is kind of problematic. Here's a thought. Rather than age gating all this kind of stuff, why don't you say to parents, kids shouldn't be on the internet, and if they are, it's on you? Just a thought. Good parents have ways to monitor their kids on the internet. We do not put the impetus on these companies to age gate anything. But anyway, let's move on to prevent minors from accessing the technology and to move to a more robust age verification measures. Digital ID! No, thank you. I will not use ChatGPT at all if it requires a photo. Show me a photo ID. Piss off. I'm not giving you that data too. Black hole. Right. It needs to clarify the legal basis it's claiming for processing people's data. I agree with that one completely. And it cannot rely on performance of a contract, meaning that it has to choose between consent or legitimate interests. It also has to provide ways for users and non-users to exercise rights over their personal data, including asking for corrections of disinformation generated about them. We're going to see some of that coming up. And also for, let's see, where am I at? I missed my spot here. Including asking for corrections or disinformation generated about them, or else to have their data deleted. It must provide users with an ability to object to OpenAI's processing of their data for training its algorithms, and it must conduct a local awareness campaign to inform Italians that it's processing of their information to train its AIs. I agree with everything in here except for the age verification. We cannot age gate the internet, okay? You are the parent, you age gate the internet in your house. Trust me, it's possible. So that is the update to what is going on with OpenAI and ChatGPT in the country of Italy. I guess we might also be waiting for the Pope to bless it, but we'll see what happens with that in the future. And with that, ChatGPT does 80% of my job. I'm really waiting for the Joshua Fluke video on this one. So ChatGPT does 80% of my job. Meet the worker using AI robots to take on multiple full-time jobs, and their employers have no idea. So basically, a lot of these companies, they give you a job that most of it you can do in your sleep except for the busy work. Hey, let's just set ChatGPT onto it. Sounds great. So what they're doing now is they're just using ChatGPT, and now they are overemployed. Not just, hey, I have 2 part-time jobs, or I have a full-time job and a part-time job. All right, so now these employees are using ChatGPT to basically do 2 separate jobs. And as they do 2 separate jobs, then now they're actually able to get in here and they are able to work on 2 full-time jobs. Nobody knows anything one way or the other. And that kind of is the case for that. All right, so next up, we have to move fast. U.S. looks to establish rules for artificial intelligence. The problem I had with this Guardian article is there was no link back to anybody who's asking for data. So the whole thing is U.S. says we have a problem with AI. We have a circumstance where AI is definitely causing a serious impact on our society. We do not have a legal system in place. We need to establish a legal system. So the first thing the government has to do anytime those types of rules are happening, the first thing that has to be done is that they have to go out and they have to check the public comments. The problem is there is no place to put the public comments. No place to put the public comments in here. We have a link to the Bill of Rights, which goes to the whitehouse.gov. Tech Bill of Rights. We have the National Institutes of Standards. This, I think, is where they kind of want them to collect, but there's no link in here as to where they are asking for actual information. Here's the proposed legal framework from the EU. Here's a link, a political article on Microsoft, AI, and things like that. But basically, the United States has to move. They have to move fast. The unfortunate thing is the United States moves about as fast as a glacier. Or maybe for you guys more into Linux, because this is a Linux channel, it moves about as fast as Debian development. So it's going to be about 3 or 4 years before we get any legislation which is meaningful on AI. And by then, AI will have already enslaved us. And then we'll look back and go like, well, we don't know what to do about it now. But oh well, it was fun anyway. Fun run while we had it. But anyway. Well, ChatGPT falsely accuses Jonathan Turley of sexual harassment and concocts a fake Washington Post story to support the allegation. I'm sure Washington Post is like, why didn't we write that article? So, Chatbot completely fabricated a story accusing legal scholar Jonathan Turley of sexually harassing a student during a class trip to Alaska. Jonathan Turley subsequently said, well, I've never gone on a trip to Alaska with students. I don't take any trips at all. And the article that they cited doesn't exist. They asked Washington Post, and the Washington Post is like, yeah, as much as we hate political commentaries, we have to agree. We had nothing to do with this article. This article didn't exist. I wish we would have written it, but we didn't. So, you know, George Washington law professor Jonathan Turley doubled down on warnings surrounding the dangers of AI on Monday after he was falsely accused of sexual harassment by the online chatbot. And here's the biggest problem is now everybody's going to take this information and run with it as if it's true. Almost kind of like that's kind of what they're trying to do anyway. But, you know, whatever that happens, work with. 5 professors came up, and 3 of those stories were clearly false, including my own, Turley said. The story on Fox News Monday was really menacing about the incident is that the AI system made up a Washington Post story and then made up a quote from the story and said there was an allegation of harassment on a trip with students to Alaska. That trip never occurred. I've never gone on any trip with law students of any kind. It had me teaching at the wrong school, and I have never been accused of any form of sexual harassment. In a widely shared Twitter thread last Thursday, the constitutional legal scholar revealed ChatGPT defamed him by fabricating a 2018 incident in which he was accused of such harassment by a former female student on a trip to Alaska. The robot went so far as to quote a phony Washington Post article claiming that he made suggestive comments and attempted to touch her in inappropriate manners. He says, of course, they contacted Washington Post. They're like, yeah, we have no idea. And ChatGPT sitting here going, well, this is it. And, well, it's just like the self-driving cars. Who now is liable for this? Can he sue the company? Can he sue the directors of the company? Because this is clearly defamation. 100% clearly defamation. Who takes the brunt of this? Is it the people involved? Is it the AI itself? What are the consequences for the people involved for the AI itself? The people clearly didn't do it. The AI did, but the AI is not capable of being held accountable for a crime. Interesting. Maybe we kind of need to think about these types of things before we start pushing this stuff into everything with reckless abandon, like we already mentioned on this channel, that Microsoft and Google is trying to do. Microsoft lays off their entire AI ethics team and then tries to cram AI into absolutely everything. What can possibly go wrong? Well, here's another scam. If you've seen this one actually, this one first made the rounds not with AI, but in general, only a few months ago. Now people are using AI to perfect it. The old scam was you'd get called by somebody claiming to be a grandchild. They usually call an older person. Oh, this is Johnny. I was arrested. I need money for bail. And grandma's like, and they wouldn't actually need this name. This is your grandson. Johnny, is that you? And yeah, it's me. It's Johnny. And they would scam the grandmother out of money for this. Well, in this case, the AI was able to perfectly capture the voice of a child, including the inflection of the voice and the way the voice cried. I've got your daughter. Mom warns of terrifying AI voice clone scam that faked a kidnapping. So now they have the full voice prints. So this is in Scottsdale, Arizona. Mother in Arizona is warning others about a terrifying phone scam involving artificial intelligence that can clone a loved one's voice. Jennifer Stefano, DeStefano, or whatever that name is, said she got a call from an unfamiliar phone number and it almost let it go to voicemail. However, her 15-year-old daughter was out of town skiing. So she picked up the phone, fearing there may have been an accident. I picked up the phone and I hear my daughter's voice. Mom, she's sobbing. I said, what happened? Mom, I messed up. And she's sobbing and crying. Put your head back, lie down. She heard a man's voice saying, put your head back, lie down. Confused and terror, the man goes on the phone, says, listen here, I've got your daughter. This is how it's going to go down. You call the police, you call anybody. I'm going to pop her so full of drugs. I'm going to have my way with her. I'm going to drop her off in Mexico. That moment, I just started shaking in the background. She's going, help me, Mom, help me, please help me, and bawling. Man on the phone demanded money, first asking for $1 million and then lowered his demand to $50,000 when she said, I do not have the funds. She kept him talking during the phone call. She happened to be out with her other daughter's dance studio, surrounded by worried moms who wanted help. One called 911, another called DeStefano's husband. Then 4 minutes, they confirmed the daughter was safe. She was upstairs in her room going, what? What's going on? Then I got angry, obviously, with these guys. This is not something you play around with. So now they're using AI to perfect on an old scam. So ChatGPT, you can read the rest of the story. Of course, all the links for our stories is on the website. Check the description of this video. But now AI is being used to perfectly match people's voices, and this is becoming another issue. Especially I know one financial institution that requires you to set up voice printing to verify when you call in on the phone. So you call them in and be like, oh, yeah, I want to transfer all my funds to this different company. Well, they have your voice print, and they assume your voice print can't be matched. Are they making any changes because of this? Doubtful. Doubtful. Not until they get sued their pants off for forcing somebody to use a voice print. But this is going to take a few things. Number one, it's going to take a company working with that financial institution who, number two, puts them in writing saying, I do not consent to voice print verification. And then number three, they don't care. And then number four, all their assets are stolen. And that is what it's going to take for a good lawsuit. You have to have it written that you do not consent to a voice print. So when it happens, you have that in writing saying, I did not consent, they forced it, and their foolish policy caused me to lose. That is going to be the legal basis by which you can sue the company. Unfortunately, they're not going to until enough people wake up. So you have to wake up. Do not consent to voice prints. Do not consent to any form of biometrics. You have to be as in person as you possibly can on any of this type of stuff. With that, we are going to leave this one here. If you want to help support the channel, we do have Patreon, patreon.com/TOMM. You can jump in over there, help support the channel over there. And with that, guys, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.